No, that's a biological man. All of y'all are biological men. Did y'all know that the strongest woman in the world just so happens to be a man? You can't make this stuff up. Feminists, I'm gonna need y'all to hold this L.
The world's strongest woman was actually born a man? Yeah, recently Jamie Booker beat out all the women at the World Championship in Arlington, Texas. He's very weak compared to men, by the way, so below standard that he couldn't even think about competing against actual men. So he's been transitioning now for years and started to compete against women. This is how a man that will come last place competing against men came in first place competing against women. For the record, I have to say this is totally unfair and it doesn't make any sense. Why? Because you're robbing the actual women who compete. And to the women who defend this nonsense, it's all good until you're the woman that's robbed.
When all of this was kind of building up, we started talking about the men in the bathrooms and all this other stuff. When it kicked off, right? I saw so many feminists out here like, yeah, trans women are women. Yeah, they need to be in our spaces. Yeah, just cheering it on. As much as y'all talk about the patriarchy, that is the patriarchy, just in a wig and some lipstick. Y'all realize that, right? We're having men infiltrate our spaces, take away our titles, spaces that were carved out for biological women because it's very hard for us to compete against a biological man. Now we're seeing those spaces are being infiltrated by that same patriarchy. You can't convince me that this isn't what real misogyny looks like. I'm a man and I'm a better woman than you. I deserve to come into your spaces, take your trophies, get your acknowledgments because I, as a biological man, am better than you. That's peak misogyny. But this is what they were asking for. This is what the feminists were asking for. When you get out here and your big messages, women can do what men can do. Yeah, girl power. Yeah, we can do anything a man can do. This is what that looks like. Men being in your spaces and taking your titles. Understand, we can't do everything a man can do, and it's perfectly fine because guess what? There are things that we can do that a man can't do. I would love to see a biological man push a baby out of his kibbles and bits. Ain't gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. Y'all put so much emphasis on what men can do, and it's weird to me because you're under the guise of feminism, woman power, but you're putting all of this emphasis on what men can do and then attributing that to everything that's great in the world. Like, oh my God, whatever men can do. That's the pinnacle of peak ability. And then you're saying, well, we can do that. We can do that. What happened to appreciating us as women? If you're putting all of your weight under what men can do, then you're diminishing our value as women because it only is valuable if a man can do it. And then we see what's happening now. Women don't want to have babies anymore. There are some that don't want to have babies because society being in the stir or the economy, they can't afford to have babies, and that's fair. I'm not going to tell people to bring babies in this world they can't afford. But there are women, literal women out here that just despise the idea of having children. They despise the idea of being a mother. This is what the outcome is. When you put all the value, all the eggs in the basket of what men can do, then we start disrespecting and neglecting and not appreciating the things that women can do naturally. If you are one of those people that have like gender dysphoria, if you want to dress a certain way, behave a certain way because it makes you feel most comfortable, I don't give a damn. But do not infiltrate our spaces. Do not make it seem like I have to affirm your belief that you're this woman. It's none of my business, and my perspective on it is none of your business. But see, it's not just about themselves and how they feel about it. No, it's about how we feel about it. If it was just about convincing themselves, then we wouldn't have a lot of these issues when it comes to the trans community. We wouldn't have any issues. It's about, I need you to affirm it. That's what they call affirmative care. I need you to affirm it because if you affirm it, then it's real. If they just believe it, it's not enough. That's why, you have that Lily Tino freak that's going around accosting people, taking pictures in the bathroom, the woman's bathroom, making a big stink when someone, especially someone who doesn't speak English that well, accidentally calls him a sir. I can't even eat this anymore. I just don't feel safe. You don't feel safe because he he called you a sir and then he apologized. Like, these people are clinically insane. But we have such a snowflake society that you can't call people crazy anymore. You're saying I'm born in the wrong body. That is a mental health crisis. That is not normal. I am empathetic to people who are dealing with mental health. I truly am. But the moment you try to force me into your delusion, that's where we have a problem. The moment you try to force your way into the bathroom with my daughter and you a grown ass man with a beard, we have a effing problem. See, I remember growing up, once I got to a certain age, my parents could just send me to the bathroom and I would just come right back, no issues. The biggest issue I had was this one time I went to the bathroom and the woman that was in there didn't wash her hands. That was the biggest issue I had. And I had to tell her, I was like, you didn't wash your hands. Me now, I don't feel comfortable sending my daughter when she gets older to the bathroom by herself. No, we're gonna have to pair up. Hell, my son, gonna have to pair up with his daddy until he's big enough to knock somebody out. I really hate that we've gotten to this point where basic logic is just not a thing. Back in the day, which doesn't seem that long ago, but back in the day, it was the left. It was the lefties that were preaching all this stuff about science, backed by science, and, we need to think about the science of things. Whereas like conservatives were more, biblical, different things like that. So I find it interesting how things just switch. So now you have the liberals or the Democrats talking about how a woman is a woman if they say they're a woman, and it doesn't matter about the chromosomes, it doesn't matter about all of this. I'm like, well, what about the science? I thought y'all were a party of the science. Now y'all denying basic science that we've been known, all for the purposes of virtue signaling. This is what feminism advocated for. A woman can do what a man can do, and now the man is over in your spaces taking your trophies. Now you want to get mad? No, you asked for this.
Like in this case, it was Andrea Thompson from the UK. Do you know how hard it was for Andrea? The work she put in just to go through this?
Yeah, Jamie Booker. Wow, what a show. There's your podium in our women's open category.
I know that look. I know that look. That is the pure look of, man, I'm sick of this shit. How sad is that? She worked so hard, right? She worked so hard to get to where she's at, only for a mediocre man to come through and steal her spot. It's just like where that man who's mediocre as a male swimmer comes in, just wins the whole thing. Mediocre men. You can't even compete with your biological sex, but then you want to come over to our spaces and take the title, steal the title from us. It's very disheartening. Trained your entire life for that moment and it is stolen from you. We're gonna find that later on, they took the title away from him and I guess they gave it to her, but it's like you've already stolen that moment from her. If you've ever competed with anything, then you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Part of the joy, part of the excitement, part of the experience is when you've won, getting up on the stage and then having everyone congratulate you right after you win your victory. And who's to say she might not be able to compete next year? We never know what's gonna happen. This might be the last year she can compete. Or maybe next year somebody else comes up and then she beats her. So you've effectively stolen this moment where she has earned it. She worked hard for it. All because you're a mediocre ass male and you thought you could come into the women's division and steal from us. The women advocated for this. Ozzy said there's a condition, I forget the name, where people become convinced that part of their body is not theirs somehow. If left untreated, these people often self-amputate. Exactly. Sound familiar? It is a mental health crisis. The moment you want to remove a healthy organ, a healthy body part because of what's going on up here, that is a mental health crisis. If you've ever seen the process that they go through when going from a man to a woman, which you can't actually do, it's terrifying. It looks like something out of Frankenstein. And it's crazy when they do the woman to man transition, where they literally take off sections of your skin, sections of skin on their leg to make some kind of kibble and bit. Why is that even allowed? You're literally mutilating yourself. But I know why it's allowed, because it funnels money into pockets of pharmaceuticals. It funnels money into the healthcare industry, because guess what? You're going to be a perpetual customer. You know, every single time people come on here and I say anything about trans, they're like, you're homophobic, you're transphobic, you're this phobic. How am I the phobic one when I'm telling you to go get help, actual help for what's up here, rather than getting put on a bunch of drugs that are going to keep you a perpetual patient, exactly, patient for life? I'm telling you not to get risky surgeries that can also continue to damage your mental, because it's never going to be the same. There are people that go through that surgery and they're not able to achieve an orgasm ever again. A lot of them suffer from depression, but I'm the phobic one because I want you to handle what's up here first. Because I want you to stay off of these drugs that are going to sterilize you. But I'm the phobic one. No, the people who are actually transphobic are the ones who are encouraging you to go ruin your life. Those are the ones who want to get you on all these puberty blockers as a child, that want you to cut off healthy body parts, that want you to mutilate yourself. Those are the people who are truly transphobic because they want you to ruin your life. All so they could feel like a helpful little friend, like an ally. Because it's about them, it's not about you. If it was, they would care about your mental health. They don't give a damn. It's about getting kudo points on TikTok for being so inclusive. But then the moment you want to detransition, after they're hyped you up, the moment you want to detransition, they want to silence you and tell you to shut the hell up. That's what they do. All of these people that detransition, they get ostracized from the LGBT. They get ostracized from lefty talk. They want to just ignore their stories altogether. They tell them to go shut the hell up and go sit in the corner. Where was all that hyping them up when you hyped them up to go do this to themselves? It's very predatory to people who are suffering from mental health crises. How to are, you said, fun fact, this dude is also a trans lesbian. Imagine him going to our So he's a straight man. You can't be a lesbian. You're a man. And see, I feel for the lesbians out there because they sick of this shit too. These trans will get out here and tell these lesbians that you're phobic because you don't want to date me. And it's just like, they want to be with a woman. They want a feminine touch. They don't want you, you're a man. It's so insensitive, completely insensitive. It's like they want to choose your preferences for you. You don't get a choice in who you prefer. No, you have to date me. Just like they'll go up to these men that don't want to date trans women. Well, you're transphobic because you don't want to date me. It's his preference. He doesn't have to want to date you.
Not wanting to date a trans nigga is not a preference.
What is it?
It's just nature.
It's just nature?
Prefer means that I could.
Oh, well, true. Hey, that's true. Prefer means you could. I concede. Prefer means you could. Okay, I understand. I need to find a better word.
As you can see, when Jamie was up there holding up the trophy, like, yeah, look at me, everybody, I'm the best, Andrea openly called it BS and stumped off. Now, a lot of folks from that community didn't like Andrea's reaction, but I'm here to tell you, Andrea was 100% right. That was BS. Andrea was the real winner, and her whole moment was stolen from her by this man that should not have been in the competition with them in the first place. It's just not right. It was like a whole real life South Park episode.
There are just so many amazing women athletes out here today. It makes me so proud.
And this is the feminist, okay? This is the feminist over here being so excited about the trans women. Yeah, I'm so excited. My sister, my trans sister. This is the feminist advocating for men to be in their spaces.
Now, this is the first year that a trans woman is in the competition. How do you feel about that?
Amazing. I feel honored to be a part of history. I have a lot of incredible trans friends who are athletes, and so we're all inspired this woman's competing.
And have you actually ever met Heather Swanson?
No, I've never competed against her before, no.
It's all fun and games. It is all fun and games until that man comes and steals your spot.
Not exactly your average trans athlete.
Well, what is an average trans athlete? Honestly, I find that kind of bigoted, David.
Okay, Heather Swanson is actually joining us now. Miss Swanson, how does it feel to be competing today?
I can't tell you how free I feel now that I've started identifying as a woman.
And hey, hun, don't look now, but you
The moment you start getting out here saying that as soon as they say they're a woman, that's what you get. This is what you get. He said he's a woman, so he's a woman, right? When we get on the conversation about women being attacked in the bathroom by trans women, the first argument that they'll give is, well, that's not a real trans woman. That was just a biological man. What's the difference? Y'all told us that if they say they're a woman, they're a woman. So this motherfucker is saying that he's a woman, so it's a woman, right? It's a trans woman. Well, no. It's just like they want to accept everything that's positive and ignore the things that are negative. Deaf, dumb, and blind. I've heard Blossom say this dumbass. Well, that's a biological, well, yeah, it's a biological man. But guess what? He's a trans. He said it by your parameters. If they say they're a woman, then they're a woman. He said he was a woman, and that's why he wanted to be in a space. And then he assaulted a real woman. By your standards, that's a trans woman. No, that's a biological man. All of y'all are biological men. Like I said, mentally ill. You have so many mentally ill people, and they are in the spotlight. And people keep bringing them on these platforms. And to be honest, I think it's a bit predatory. That's like me inviting somebody that I know is stupid onto my platform to debate me so I can dunk on them the whole time. It's predatory. I know you're stupid.
But you just won. I won.
We've seen this before. MMA and her skull got cracked, or it was boxing. Feminists, this is what you asked for. Don't be mad now. The unfortunate part is the folks that didn't ask for this, I didn't ask for this. The folks that didn't ask for this, guess what? We still have to live in this world where this is a thing. Now, when I put my daughter into sports, when she gets older, now I have to look through and side eye, is that a little boy on that team? Because the last thing you're gonna do is have some little boy knocking my daughter upside the head. I'm gonna fight your mama, I bet you I will. This is a problem. The folks wanna pretend like it's not a problem because they wanna seem inclusive. Oh, I'm so inclusive, you guys. I'm so tolerant, you guys. Get the fuck out of here.
Biological man just won the strongest woman in the world. The woman to his left is the one that should have won, and you can see clearly how disgusted she is. She's literally mouthing the words, "This is BS, can we go now?" The man that grabbed the trophy, born a man, now transgender, is Jamie Booker. And here's a video of him talking about the award.
Now that I've had a moment to come home and shower and get away from the noise for a minute, I wanted to express a very heartfelt thank you to everyone that has supported me over the past.
But not so fast. The title was actually stripped from him, rightfully so. The Strongman Games released a statement saying, had they known that this person was a biological male, they wouldn't have let him compete in the first place. So now they crowned it to the woman that was in second place, who knew she won, who is Andrea Thompson, who won in 2018, and now she is the strongest woman in the world.
The damage is already done. You've already stolen that moment from that woman. She can't get that back. And even if they try to recreate it, it's not going to be the same.